reclined butterfly. If you like to have something padded underneath your head, just go ahead and place that down first. Have your blocks so that they're close by. And you're going to come to lie on your back. Before you even bring your legs into shape, think about just drawing your shoulder blades apart and then bringing the soles of the feet together, letting the knees open. And of course, feel free to tuck some blocks underneath your thighs for a little more support. Make sure that your chin is gently aligned down towards the chest. Take your arms wherever it feels comfortable here and effortless. And then close down the eyes once you settle into the shape. And before you even begin to experiment with your breath, take a moment just to notice how you're even breathing. So how are you even showing up here on your mat in your body? Feel how the breath is traveling through. Noticing where it goes, how it feels. Notice how this breath just sort of shifts you right into being in the moment and stepping away from everything else. It's so important for us to take time to step away from everything and to really focus on taking care of ourselves. So thank you for showing up on your mat today and taking this hour just for yourself. Your mat, these sensations, your breath. Start to create an intention for your practice today. Maybe it's as simple as one word. Maybe it's a short sentence. Maybe you're not sure exactly what it is that you would like to get from your practice today. So even offering that up and just knowing that whatever it is that you actually truly need from this practice today, you're going to get. This is all part of the beautiful practice. And start to find a longer, deeper breath in and out through your nose. And even with the deeper breath, can you soften the belly and the ribs and the lungs? Just allow the energy of the body to start to move at its own pace. It's a slow breath in, a slow breath out. Yet it's a breath that is anchoring you here in this moment. We're about halfway through here. So just notice how your body is feeling and what sort of breath pattern you're creating and what is happening in the mind. And see if there is any possibility to adjust your shape, maybe move your arms into a different angle, maybe bring your feet in a little bit closer. Maybe you stay exactly as you are because where you're at is exactly where you need to be. But think of your breath like an experiment that you can start to change the formula of. So maybe it's a longer breath in that you take. Maybe it's a longer breath out. We're here for just another few cycles of breath. Now take your hands and place them onto your body. And then breathe into your hands as you take a deep breath in through the nose. And then open the mouth and exhale. We'll do that 2 more times. Deep breath in through the nose. Opening the mouth and exhaling out. 1 more time. Inhale. And exhale. Start to bring your hands underneath your thighs. Use your hands to bring your knees back up, placing your feet onto the mat. You can take your blocks to the side for the moment and either staying here with knees bent or lengthening the legs out for a moment, pausing and just allowing all of the lower body meridians to settle here. So that's kidneys, liver, spleen, and gallbladder. Just feel the release of sensation in your body. Maybe even feeling a little bit of space already created. Now we're going to move into our next shape, which is going to open the side body. So if your legs were bent, you're going to start to lengthen your legs out to the bottom of your mat. And then you're going to walk both feet over to the bottom left corner of your mat. Now try to keep your hips square and level. You're going to pick up your upper body and shift it over to the left side as well. So you're creating this beautiful half moon shape. Take your arms wherever it feels comfortable here. So I like a goalpost position for my arms, but they can be down by your sides, out from your shoulders, even up above your head. Just make sure that the elbows, forearms, and the backs of your hands are grounded. You might find crossing the right ankle over top of the left might feel nice for your body. And explore maybe moving your head a little bit. Just finding a direction to help soften through the sides of your neck. Closing the eyes if they're open. Starting to find some really long, deep breaths evenly out through both sides of your body. So we're really kind of stimulating through the side channel. So opening up through the ribs, the outside of the hips. Depending on the position of your arms, you might be also getting some nice release through the shoulders. But most definitely stimulating gallbladder and some of the upper meridian lines through the heart, the lungs. So if you've been feeling at all congested or heavy in the chest or in the head, this is a really great posture just to open up and create space for you to find those deeper breaths. Anytime my chest or my lungs start to feel a little bit heavy or congested, I always find this shape so that physically I'm opening up through my lungs and my ribs, but also energetically as well. Try to maintain that rooted sense through the right side of your body. And expand out through the left and the right side of your rib cage. Now, keeping the shape of the legs, start to bring your left hand down towards your left knee with your palm facing up. And then extend the right arm up towards the top of your mat, as much so that you can still maintain either a ground of the forearm and back of the hand on the floor, or using blocks to support that arm. Okay. And then just picking up the upper body and shifting it that much more to the left if you can, without compromising. So you're not looking to push or force your body here into something deeper, but doing what feels good in your body. And then finding just a slightly longer pace these last few deep breaths. Let's take one really deep breath in, fill all the way up. And then exhale nice and slowly, emptying completely. And then begin to walk your upper body back towards the center of your mat. Take your arms out from your shoulders and then extend the right leg back out to the right side of the mat. So legs are nice and wide, arms are nice and wide. Just settle here and let everything relax. Just let the energy and the blood flow back. So notice how you're breathing here. Notice how the right side of your body feels compared to the left. And then take one more breath in and out through your nose. For now, take the arms back down towards your hips. And you're going to start to walk the left foot over to meet the right foot. Again, you might cross the ankle on top if you like. And then pick the upper body up, shift it over to the right side as well. So creating that length through the left side and the compression through the right. Then find a position for your arms, something that feels really comfortable here. Let your head fall to a direction that allows for your neck to release. Arms are nice and soft. That left side of your body is very anchored. It's very rooted down. So nothing is lifting. Drawing those deeper breaths into the body. I like to feel like I'm expanding out my ribs. It's like I'm filling up a balloon, but in 4 different directions. Up and down, side to side. This is one of my favorite postures to do first thing in the morning. Just creates so much space in the body, but also energetically, especially if your arms are up higher than your heart, it allows for all of the meridians in your body to be stimulated. So think of it like a full body massage, but also a full body energetic tuning as well. Check your breath. If there's anything that feels either a little bit choppy or jagged, just smooth it out so that the breath is seamless from inhale to exhale. Now, if you like, you can sweep the right arm down towards the right hip and start to lengthen the left arm up a little higher, maybe needing to prop it up onto something so that it can still feel grounded, and allowing the upper body to just shift a little bit more to that right side. Feeling that deeper extension through your left side body. Last 3 slow, deep breaths. Slowly begin to shift your upper body back to center. Arms outstretched from your shoulders. Release the left foot over to the left side of your mat. So you're nice and wide. It's like a big starfish here. Settle in. Check in and notice. How is your body feeling? Slowly start to bend your knees. Start to walk the feet in a little bit closer towards the hips. And then gather the knees up and towards your chest, just finding a gentle rock here from side to side. Just massage out the whole back body here. You're going to slowly roll right over onto the left side and start to make your way up. You're going to come to sit on your heels. Now, we're not here for very long. We're going to work the feet actually. So you might want to have a block in front of you. I'm not going to lie, this next couple of postures can be quite intense for some people, especially if you're not used to stretching out your feet. So your feet are no different than any other area of your body. It has ligaments, tissues, fascia, tendons, and joints and muscles, and they all need to be stretched just like anything else in your body. So we're going to start with toe stretch. So you're going to come into a table position, curl your toes under, and you're going to start to walk your hands back towards your knees. Make sure all 10 toes are flat, okay? Because if they're not, this is going to be really uncomfortable. And some of you might find like putting your hands up onto the block and leaning forward is already a lot of a stretch, so you can stay here. Some of you might just bring the hands onto the lap, but still lean forward, or some of you might actually sit back on your heels and sit upright, shoulders stacked above hips. So this last variation is quite intense. If you're not used to it, please honor that and come a little bit more forward. Don't worry, your toes aren't going to break. This is a really, really good posture. When your body is tight, your feet are tight. And when your feet are tight, your body is tight because it's all connected. So the more that you can stretch your feet out, the more you're actually helping to relax the rest of your body. Continue to breathe here. We're not here for much longer. Just a few more breaths. I love this posture. I love it. I remember the first time I did this was in my teacher training, my yoga teacher training. And our teacher had us sit here for 5 minutes. And I thought my feet were going to fall off. I was dying. I was just dying. It was brutal. But then the more I started practicing this, the more I was like, oh my God, my body feels so much better. And my feet so much better. My gait was better. Everything was better. My spine alignment was better. Okay, let's take a deep breath in. Reach your arms out and up. Exhale, slowly come forward, hands to the mat, untuck the toes, and you're going to just gently tap them lightly on your mat. They're going to feel a little squishy. That's just the blood flowing back into the feet. You can pick up the feet and kind of just circle the ankles and wiggle out the toes a little bit if you like. And then now you're going to sit back on the heels. So we're going to do ankle stretch for the front of the feet. Now for some people, this is already like really intense. So if it is, you can take a block on the lower setting, tuck it between your feet and sit on it. Okay, so that's kind of a variation. If you're okay sitting on the heels and not really noticing much of anything here, you can start to walk your hands back behind you, engaging the core though, and tucking the tailbone under. Okay, so this will start to create a little bit more stretch through not just the ankles and tops of the feet, but also your shins and maybe even your quadriceps and hip flexors. You can also pick up your knees as well. And you really want to engage the core if you're picking up the knees. And this would be more the deeper stretch. If you're really feeling quite good here, last option is really engaging the core and just bringing the hands to the heart. The knees are floating. Now this is a quite advanced option, so I only recommend it if you're used to doing this stretch. If not, find one of the other variations to work with. They're all good. We all have to start from somewhere. If you're someone who runs or spends a lot of time on your feet, even if you're walking a lot, this is a really good posture to do. Take a deep breath in and take a long breath out. Now slowly, if your hands are back behind you and your knees are lifted, start to bring your knees back down to the mat and start to walk the hands back forward. Come back into that table position and just give those feet a little bit of movement here. Circle out ankles, toes, maybe even just like flex and point the feet a little bit. And then place the feet back down to the mat. We're going to come down onto the belly, coming into Sphinx pose. So have a block at the top of your mat if you need it. We're going to come up onto our forearms. Now, if you can, you're going to stack your elbows directly underneath the shoulders. If that's too intense for you today, walk your elbows a little bit more forward until your ribs drop down to the floor. And if you like, you can also take that block and tuck it underneath the head and allow your neck to be supported as well, especially the back of the neck. It's a nice little neck release as well. You want to think of keeping your hip bones heavy, low belly drawn in just a little bit here, and feet. I like to take my feet quite wide in this shape, but some people prefer to have their feet together. It really depends on how it feels in your low back. So just choosing one or the other. Closing the eyes down, drawing the shoulders away from the ears. So here we're stimulating mostly the back body. So of course, bladder meridian line. So that foundational supportive posture that helps keep us rooted in our life. But also, this is a posture that brings a lot of vitality and energy, not just to your body, but especially to your nervous system, to your spine. So you're feeding your spine here. And of course, our spine absorbs everything. So it absorbs nutrients, it absorbs toxins. So keeping our spine really healthy allows us to also keep our nervous system healthy as well. I find anytime I need a little bit of a pick-me-up or just a little boost of energy, especially say midday, that kind of 2 o'clock time frame, I'll often come and take this shape, even for just a couple of minutes, just to kind of reset. Long, slow, deep breaths here. As we're compressing through the low back, we're finding just a temporary restriction of blood flow through our kidneys and adrenals, which is actually quite healthy for us, so that when we come into a forward fold afterwards to counterbalance that, we will do the opposite. We will expand and bring blood flow into the kidneys and the adrenals. And we'll be compressing through the front of the body. So this is partially how yin can be so beneficial as a practice for you, because that compression and decompression of areas of the body is what helps to regulate blood flow and release the stagnation in your body. Now, if you're finding Sphinx is pretty good here, you'd like to come maybe a little bit deeper, you're going to come up into Seal. Seal is a much deeper back bend. So you're going to bring your hands to the corners of your mat, spread your fingers wide, and then you're going to start to press into your palms and lift your elbows up off the mat. Now here again, you want to keep that core drawn in. You want to keep a soft little bend in the elbows so you're not locking or hyperextending in the joint. Head can be either forward or down. And you want just a slight little engagement of your glute muscles here, just to help stabilize your sacrum. And of course, if you come up here and then a few minutes later, you're like, nah, this is just not going to happen today, feel free to just come right back down into Sphinx. Finding those really deep breaths here. Just watch each breath in, each breath out. Think of your breath like a wave. Comes in, goes out. It's a continuous pattern. Now, we're going to be here for just a couple more moments. Please honor your body. If you need to rest and come down onto your belly, please do. Take one really deep breath in and breath out. If you're in seal, very slowly come back down onto your forearms and then start to walk your elbows out wide. Place your hands stacked one on top of the other and bring your forehead down. We'll take 5 deep breaths here. Now just pick up the feet and windshield wiper the legs from side to side. This is just to help release any residual tension in the low back. Just gets blood flushing back again. And then place the feet down to the mat, hands underneath the shoulders. Let's slowly press up into table. And just for a moment, sit upright on the heels. We're just here for 2 breaths here, just to let the spine realign back to center. And then we'll move into tadpoles, also known as a widening child's pose. And this will be our counter pose to the back bend. So big toes come together, heels are open, knees are wide. If you like to support yourself in this shape, you can take blocks and maybe place a block between the thighs for the belly to rest. You can also have a block in front of you for the forehead to rest if you like. These are just optional. You're going to come down forward and land your forearms or hands. I mean, sometimes people are just more of in an upright position, and that's totally okay, especially if your hips are starting to lift. Try to keep your hips grounded as you fold into the shape here. Allow your head to be supported. You want to relax the shoulders away from the ears and find yourself rounding through the upper back, almost like you're trying to draw your collarbones together and you've got wings on your back that you're just expanding out. The really gentle, slow pace to the breath. I love to exaggerate my inhale in this shape to help, especially after coming out of a deep back bend. It's really nice just to nourish the back of the body with some really deep breaths. Slowing down the pace of your breath. Just finding more time to breathe in, more time to breathe out. Being aware of the sensations in your body as you're breathing in and out. And if your mind veers off in thought or in sensation other than what you're feeling in your body, come back to the breath. But always, always honoring what your body is capable of doing. So there's always that listening. And if anything ever feels in the realm of like sharp or shooting or electrical or just such strong discomfort that it's preventing you from breathing deeply, then you know that's your signal to come out, to rest, or to modify your shape into something different. Because yin is so much more than just a physical stretch that is happening in your body, even just resting in a shavasana state with your mind, imagining that you are actually in a certain pose, brings you 85% of the same benefit as if you were actually in the shape. This is one of my teachers, Paul Greeley, had told me. I remember when I was in one of my teacher trainings with him, I had injured one of my knees. So I was quite limited into what I could do. And he came up to me and he said, he's like, you don't have to do tadpole. And I said, well, that's the shape everybody's in. He's like, yeah. He's like, why don't you just take shavasana and why don't you imagine you're in tadpole? And I said, okay. I said, how's that going to work? And he's like, energetically, it's still the same thing. And I was like, okay. And you know what? He was right. So it's never about the actual shape. Just keep that in mind as you practice. You take a nice long breath in and a breath out. And then you're going to slowly start to press yourself up. And eventually as you come up, just gently draw the knees together. You never want to pull or drag anything together. And for our next shape, we're going to be working our neck. So it's really important that you're sitting in a position that feels like you can keep your spine straight. So I'm sitting Seiza style with a block between my knees, but that might not feel accessible for you. If you would prefer to sit in a cross-legged position, sitting up on a block, that's also welcomed as well. You just want to be able to sit somewhere where you can keep your spine straight, but also be seated on a level of support. So if it's not the block, maybe just a rolled up towel or blanket, or even your mat rolled up. Okay. So the one thing that I want to say about working your neck when you're in a seated position is that often what we will unconsciously do is we will tighten the jaw as sort of a defense mechanism to prevent the neck from releasing. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to do a little bit of acupressure work on the jawline. So this is really beneficial, especially if you're someone who clenches or grinds. I mean, sitting in front of a computer for several hours a day, we often clench and we're not even realizing it. Okay. So sitting up nice and tall here, you're going to bring your hands so that your fingers are together, but your thumbs are separated. So it's almost like you're making like a little bit of like a clam type of position with your hands. And you're going to bring your thumbs to underneath your jaw, and your fingertips are going to come up on the top. Okay, so on the top of your face here by your jawline. We're going to start at the back, right below the earlobes. And you're just going to start to make some small circles. Doesn't matter which direction you go, just little circles here. Try to keep the upper and lower jaw apart and the tongue relaxed. Now, it's really hard to do this and talk at the same time and actually release my jaw, but anyways, you're not talking, so you're just going through this. This is so good. If anyone suffers from TMJ, has any kind of jaw tension, or not only jaw tension, but head tension, this is so good. And it's really nice as a facial massage. Okay. You're going to go down just about an inch, a little bit closer. So we're going to be eventually going towards the chin line at the middle. But again, you're just making some small circles. Keep your jaw relaxed. Lots of space between upper and lower molars. And then move down again, just another inch. And same thing. Circles. Notice if anywhere that you're massaging in is particularly tender or tight. Those are the areas that when you're doing this on your own, you might want to pause the video and maybe hold and do it a little bit longer. Sometimes one side will feel tighter than the other. So you can also, just hold one side, like you're almost clamping the jawline, and then massage through the other side. Come a little bit closer. You should be almost where your baby fingers are touching and your thumbs are touching. And again, just little circular movements here. This is an ancient acupressure technique that's been around for centuries. Back in 1,000 years ago, there was no such thing as TMJ. Nobody had jaw and, neck pain. Now, having your baby fingers together, your thumbs together, you're going to slide your hands up towards your ears. So it's almost like you're literally stretching out the bottom of your face. And you're going to do that again. When you get up to the earlobes, release and come back to that center. I could do this for hours on myself. Oh my God, it is so relaxing. This is a really good exercise to do just before you go to bed. If you work with essential oils, rolling some lavender essential oil on this will help you to not clench and grind as much. I used to be a huge grinder, and I started doing this, and my dental hygienist said to me one time, "You're not grinding anymore, are you?" And I went, "No." And she goes, "What are you doing?" Because she's like, "I need to tell my patients to do this." And this is what I do every night before I go to bed. Next time that your fingers come up towards your ears, I want you to just pull back like you're trying to stretch your chin and your face. Keep breathing. And then slowly release. Hands on the lap for just a moment. Just notice how your jaw feels. There might be a little bit of tingling, a little bit of warmth sensation. If there was any particular areas that were really tight, it might feel a little throbby. That's okay. All right, so now we're ready for some neck release. Okay. So starting with your chin, you're going to draw it down towards your chest. Just a gentle drawing down. You don't want to pull anything down. The spine is nice and straight. Shoulders are down away from the ears. Eyes are closed. Keep your jaw relaxed. So upper and lower molars are separate from one another. Just breathing deeply here. If it feels okay, let the chin drop in a little closer, but again, you're not pushing or forcing anything here. If you feel like you're kind of rounding and collapsing your spine, sit more upright, pull the navel in a little bit. Notice if your shoulders are trying to creep up towards the ears. Keep them relaxed. Shoulders are sliding down the back. Deep breath in. Long breath out. Now use one hand, place it underneath your chin, and use your hand to lift your head up. So you're not using any of the muscles in your neck at all. And then relax the left hand down. Now we're going to let the right ear roll to the right shoulder. Now you can play a little bit with moving the chin slightly down if you like, or keeping it forward, or drawing it in a little bit closer towards the chest and then over towards the shoulder. You want to kind of just move the neck around, the head around a little bit until you find that sweet spot. So we've all got it. I mean, there's nobody that has a completely relaxed neck. It's just not possible. So once you find kind of a spot that you want to rest on, make sure your upper and lower molars are relaxed. And then maybe take your right hand, bring it up over the head, and just gently cup the side of your head. It's not like you're using your hand to pull your neck down. You're not. It's just there for a little added weight. An option to take the left arm and reach it out and away from you. You can also play with turning the hand down and up. You can also bring it forward and back. Or if that's just like too intense, the hand comes back onto the thigh. Make sure you're not clenching in through the sides of your neck here. Keep it relaxed. Keep your jaw soft. Tongue is towards the bottom of the mouth. Anything feels like it's pinching or electrical or shooting, a jab sensation, come out. We're not looking for that kind of sensation here. Just, it should feel like you're almost stretching out an elastic band that's kind of almost at its maximum. Take a breath in and a breath out. If the left hand is extended, bring it back down, palm faces down. Keep your head at the tilt, but release the right hand if you had it on top of your head. You're going to roll your chin down towards your chest. Be mindful here. Bring your hand, one hand underneath your chin, and use that hand to lift your head back up. And then release the hand down. Pause for a moment here. Your neck's probably going to feel almost like a seesaw. So one side of your neck might feel higher than the other. It almost might feel like your neck is on a tilt. And it's just because we haven't done the other side yet. All right. And this time, slowly letting left ear roll to the left shoulder. Find maybe just a little bit of movement here to access that spot. I mean, there might be a few spots where you're feeling tight in the neck, but there is always one spot that gets everybody. Nice, long, deep breaths. If you like, you can take the left arm up and over the head, gently place the hand to rest on the side of the head. Maybe you stay here. Maybe this is just enough. Or maybe the right hand and arm begins to extend away from the body. And you're just finding maybe a little bit of movement in through the hand and the arm, or maybe you're just keeping everything quite still here. And slow, deep breaths. Again, just noticing if you're clenching or holding or gripping, even if it's your fingers. The body is so sneaky in some ways. Often when we're releasing one area, something else just decides to tense up. Couple more deep breaths here. Right hand comes back to the thigh. Left arm releases out. You're going to roll the chin back down towards center. And use the strength of one hand to lift the head back up. Hands on the lap, eyes are closed. Again, just notice. Sometimes it takes a moment for the release. Now, if you're practicing this technique at home, and you notice when you do both sides, if you kind of still feel like you're on a bit of that seesaw, feel free to go back to the side that felt denser or tighter and hold it a little bit longer. Of course, you can always pause the videos anytime you need to stay into some of these shapes a little bit longer. Now, resting hands on the lap, palms face down. We're going to do some full neck circles, really gentle, very slow here. Be mindful of anything that feels, sharp or shooting or numbing in sensation. First, the chin draws down to the chest. And then left ear rolls to the left shoulder. We're going to roll the chin back to center. Nice and slow. And then right ear, right shoulder. Again, back to center as you inhale. Roll to the left as you exhale. So continuing here, finding your own pace, keeping that spine nice and long. There might be some cracking and popping happening. Just as long as there's nothing electrical or numbing in sensation. If it's just cracking and popping, that's the buildup of lactic acid in the neck, in the cervical spine, tissues, and joint. And it likely means you need to do this more often. Next time chin rolls down to chest, pause there. Sit up nice and tall, but keep the chin drawn in. Take a deep breath in. And send a long breath out. Use your hand to lift your head up. Just let the hands rest onto the lap, sitting up really tall. Chin is in line with the chest. And just notice here. Just notice and feel and breathe. And then open the eyes. If you're sitting cross-legged, just maybe switch out the position of your legs. We'll finish off with a meditation today. So we're going to work our intuitive master gland here, the third eye point, but this is also just really good for clearing out and grounding us. It's one of my favorite acupressure points to work with. So I like to use the index and second finger. I'm going to place it right at the bridge of where my nose and my forehead meet. Elbows relaxed, shoulders down. I'm sitting up tall. My eyes are closed. Now, if you find sitting upright is just becoming a little too much, feel free to come onto your back instead and do this meditation if that feels more accessible or more suitable for your body. Just keep your mind's eye on that pressure point, just feeling your fingertips pressing in there. Slowing down the pace of the breath until you come to a even breath in to an even breath out. If your mind gets taken away to a thought, just come back by taking a deep breath in and out through your nose. So this is one of these pressure points that not only helps to ground us, but it also helps to balance out all of the glands in the body. So working quite heavily through the endocrine system. So this is a good point for stress relief as well and balancing cortisol levels in the body. So if you're ever feeling, overwhelmed or just really stressed or a lot on the plate, this particular pressure point can really help clear some of that out. Take a deep breath in. Send a long breath out. Release your hands onto the lap. Just keeping the eyes closed for a moment here. Take a long breath in and a long breath out. Thank you so much for honoring your body and taking time to practice today and taking the time for self-care. As always, it is such an honor and a privilege to teach. May you have the most awesome rest of your day and your week. I'll see you in the next class. Namaste. Bye, Paul.